Delicious. Welcome to the WINN Show. If, like our team, you're naturally curious, like a bit of food, passionate about Worcestershire, like a bit more food, take delight in gaining new knowledge about food, and above all, love to hear about the brilliant businesses that make food and all the innovation strengths that we have in the county that include food, then this show is for you. We've all established that we really like food, just a little bit. When it comes to innovation, you might be surprised to know that Worcestershire has a feast of food innovators, bringing their delights, to the table. This episode brings you a menu to indulge in and get your taste buds tingling. But what for Worcestershire? Pre-COVID, the industry accounted for 9.4% of employment in the county and 10.5% of business enterprises, ranging from crop and animal production, manufacture to food and beverage services. Here's Simon to take us on a taster of delicious innovation within the county. Simon, what's on the menu?
Thanks, Jess. On the menu today we have Ian from the Old Dough Hook.
Thanks, Simon. Great to be here. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to answering a few of your questions.
What is the innovation behind your business?
I've been a chef all my adult life, and I knew that I didn't want to put my money into a restaurant. I've always wanted a H-van for some bizarre reason, and I've always loved the idea of a wood-fired oven, so hence pizza van. Yeah, it was a combination of classic vehicle and food, two of my loves.
The H-van looks amazing. What a fantastic way to bring your passions together. So what does this mean for Worcestershire?
So for Worcestershire, this means that I travel around the local communities, local villages, in Worcester itself, providing handmade traditional wood-fired pizza. The villages have proven very popular. It's really, kept me afloat, which is great. Pre-COVID, most of my business was wedding evening food, private parties, kids' birthday parties, that sort of thing. So yeah, we're always available for hire when things get back to some sort of normality.
What have been the positive impacts from the last few months?
There's lots of positive impacts, especially in these testing times. A lot of people can't get out. My service enables beautiful wood-fired pizza to be served on their doorstep and brings joy and happiness, hopefully.
And what knowledge have you learned travelling around?
It's a common question. Does pineapple belong on a pizza? I get shot if I didn't provide it, put it that way. People of Worcestershire love pineapple on a pizza. Don't ask me why, I don't know. But you've got to give people what they want. My favourite pizza, really simple. Rosemary and garlic oil, mozzarella, ripped basil, just pure and simple. And all the flavour comes from the wood-fired oven. So yeah, that's my favourite.
Well, controversially, I have to admit I love pineapple on pizza. So if people want to find out more about you, where can they go?
We're all over social media, Facebook /The Old Dough Hook. Instagram is the same, and our website is www.theolddoughhook.co.uk. Give us a follow and enjoy the pizza.
Thank you very much, Ian, and the next time I'm looking for pizza, I know exactly where to go.
Pleasure, Simon. Thank you very much for having us. I'm looking forward to welcoming some new faces soon. Thank you.
Well, I'm not joined by Sam Barriscale from Mar Bakers, but I am via Zoom. We had hoped to meet together, but unfortunately we can't. So thank you so much for joining us, Sam.
No problem at all.
Well, I'm going to get straight underway with the questions to find out even more. So, Sam, can you tell me a bit about the innovation behind Mar Bakers?
I guess, well, I've had it for 8 years. My parents opened it in 1966. And then since I was 19, my father passed away and my mum carried it on her own. And it was an estate bakery. It was just a small local bakery in a parade of shops where you had a butcher's and a haberdasher's and a greengrocer's. But 8 years ago, Mum was struggling. I'd come back to Worcester, and I thought I'll give it a go. I thought I could fill it with staff, go off and do other work, and then come back and it would be fine and running itself. And every other self-employed business owner laughed in my face, and they were right, because you can't leave a business alone, which I learned in the first year. But yeah, so I've had it for 8 years, and for the first year I kept it as a shop front, and then I thought we'd try wholesale. And then, that sort of exploded quite a bit. That was really good. And then, we just sort of carried on. And for the last sort of year, sort of struggled through like everyone else, really.
And so what does this mean for Worcestershire? What do you do in the local area and how do you support the county?
I guess, well, recently, since the pandemic started, the first thing I noticed when it all started and there was the PPE shortage. I, like every other business owner, small business owner, when there's a problem, you have to sort it out yourself. You haven't got teams of HR or development or whatever. You haven't got all that to help you. So you sort of sort things out yourself. So I just did a quick Google to see if I could find some PPE that maybe I could buy and take up to the hospital because the nurses didn't have it. And I found lots. Which wasn't the line that was being spun. So as we all got our grants from the council, and the council were great, they were on it. They got it out as quick as possible. And those first couple of weeks were scary. They were scary for a lot of us, and it made us all realise how close we were to not having a business. I think a lot of people found that, how quickly it could change. So we'd all got our grants, and there was a Facebook group, a support group. And I just asked everyone, I said, look, if you want to chuck in 100 quid, I can get some PPE. And I thought 4 or 5 of us would do it. And over 70 businesses in the end donated. And we had £7,000. So I went and got a load of masks. And there's a company in Malvern that usually make Gore-Tex rowing stuff for universities. They changed their production into gowns that could be reused for nurses and surgeons. And so we got loads of those and gave them lots of business because they were quite close to closing. Masks, visors, gloves, sanitizer from Piston Gin that started making their sanitizer, got it all up to the hospital, to the care homes. It was that was lovely. And then since then, we've sort of, through Facebook, if anything comes up, if anything that I believe in and I think we should help with, I've sort of put it out there to our supporters, and responses have been phenomenal. I mean, the Marcus Rashford campaign was one that we just did recently for the half term for the school meals. And again, I was going to put a couple of £100 aside, and I thought, well, that's going to equate to 400 quid's worth of food that you would sell out of the shop and get a few meals done for the kids. And I put it out there that it was available to people, and people started coming into the shop and giving money. And all of a sudden we had a pay it forward board, and then they asked me to put up a Just Giving page. And then we hit, I think, last time I looked, almost £4,800. So with that, because there was so much extra after the week of feeding these kids, we're now able to supply the Worcester Food Bank, well, I think until February now, with all the bread they need every other day. So
that's an absolutely fantastic experience. Wow. And it's fantastic to see, because for many of us, we're sat at home, we're sort of catching what's there on the news, and we don't get to hear about these fantastic stories locally. So that's incredible. And so do you think this positive impact that you've had over the past few months, do you think that's going to carry forward into the rest of this year and into 2021 and onwards?
I think we're facing a difficult winter. I think everyone says that. I mean, no matter how optimistic you are, it's going to be difficult. But the great thing that I learned from all this, because I started it as something small, and everyone else has gone, let us help you. So it's Worcester that's given back. It's not me. They've allowed me to give stuff away, which is, that's the greatest thing you can do. It's like, I don't have to worry. I don't have to go, oh, crikey, I can't afford this, because everyone's gone, please do it. So I'm Santa Claus, man. It's amazing. And yeah, I think the nice thing to come out of this is no matter how hard it gets, the majority of us are kind and want to help people that need it. And you can go on social media and you can look at Facebook comments on local posts and things like that and think that the world's pretty horrible and hard and people don't really care. But it's just that those sort of people shout louder. But the majority of us, 99% of us, are still, you know, nice people and want to help each other. And I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be okay. It's I know most businesses, you don't sort of look 2 months ahead. You're looking a day ahead at the moment, and that's okay. It's just a new way of working. And the amount of businesses I know that have changed how they work. And initially, we were all scared and going, "I don't think we're going to get through this." And now we're all going, "How do we do this?" And there's a lot more community now.
So you've mentioned a couple of points there. So what knowledge have you gained for you and your business from the last few months, and how will you take that forward into whatever happens next?
I think the eye-opening thing for me was seeing when this support came out, when I was honest on Facebook. I wasn't painting a picture of this business that's amazing and we do so much stuff and I've sold 1,000 loaves today or anything like that. It was just completely honest. It wasn't, it was truthful, and people respond to truth on social media in a really positive way. So if you're, I'm not saying, if you're not depressive, if you're not going, this is awful and we've got nothing, if you go, come on, what can we do? And be upbeat and say how you truly feel without blaming anyone. That's always a good thing. That's, even though it's quite hard not to when you see things happen. And if we go, okay, that's what we've got at the moment and we have to fix it, and we have to fix what's in front of us. Yeah, it's been, I mean, for the week I did the free school meals, we had quite a busy week in the shop because people were genuinely supporting us. I hadn't asked them to, but they wanted to come in and help anyway. So I think that being completely honest with your customers is really good. And that's something I've learned. Also, I mean, from a technical point of view, initially when we had that first lockdown, I'd closed because all my wholesale business had gone and I wanted to protect the staff. We had furlough. I knew that if I did a few bits here and there myself, I could keep them paid at 100%. I've got some great staff and I wanted to protect them, so I kept them on 100%. And then there was this great flour shortage, which helped a lot of bakers. Apparently, the reason for the flour shortage was because the supermarkets hadn't furloughed their bakers and everyone was home baking. And so no one was buying their fresh stuff. So the supermarkets withheld the baking goods in their warehouses. So there was this shortage, but it backfired because all the small bakeries went, well, we'll sell flour then. And I ended up doing about 70 deliveries a day in my car on my own, just dropping flour around to people, just decanting it in the morning and dropping it around. So once that had passed, people were asking for more. And I thought, well, if I'm on my own, if I just do a few things, if I bake off a few things, if I do a few loaves, I could deliver those as well. And then I spoke to a couple of friends, and also at the council, I got a digital grant, which really helped. And I set up this online shop through my card provider, iZettle. So it was a really simple step-by-step, not much knowledge needed to set up a basic shop. F8 Creates in Worcester connected it to my website. No real outlay, which is great because at the time we didn't know if we were going to carry on. And the click and collect went crazy as well. So 3 days a week, people would turn up, they'd phone the shop, I'd have their order, we'd come out masked up and gloved up, pop it in the boot of their car like a drive-through, and they'd drive off. So, and that stayed on, the click and collect stayed on, not as busy as it was. I mean, at the moment we're in second lockdown, so it's getting busier. But that's moved us forward. I know it's moved a lot of other businesses forward by making them make their stuff available online. So,
Absolutely, and we had a really similar situation. I'm based over in North Worcestershire, and we had local suppliers, the market traders here as well, and they went online, and so they kept me and my kitchen supplies well stocked over lockdown. So that pivot was fantastic, and the community support was incredible as well. Fantastic. So, if people would like to find out more about you and Mar Bakers, where can they go?
We're a strong Facebook presence. If you look for Worcester Bakers on Facebook, we're on Twitter at marbakers2, marbaker.net on the internet, and all my details are there. So if you need anything, you need to, because we do catering as well, and we're doing some sort of birthday deliveries at the moment of sort of buffets for people. So because they're locked down, they can't go out and celebrate. But yeah, we're still here. We're still supplying wholesale, and yeah, you can get anything you need on the website.
Fantastic. Well, I always look forward to a Mar Bakers lunch. So thank you so much for joining us, Sam, and I hope to be able to see you soon in person, hopefully soon.
Excellent. Thanks, man.
Take care. Well, I'm joined over Zoom by Mike Newnham from Quantum Tax. Thanks, Mike, for joining us. So could you tell us a little bit about why you're joining us on our Food for Thought special?
Okay, hi Simon. So I'm going to be talking today about the rise of veganism and really how that might have an impact on Worcestershire businesses.
Fantastic. So what innovations do we need to support this fantastic rise?
In terms of innovation, so if you could imagine that the whole human race was going to be wiped out, right? And then people that were working on a solution to that, people would be interested, right? You know, they would think that would be a good thing. You would expect, and the reality is we are heading towards really, I mean, an absolute environmental disaster. And it's really down to the food that we eat. You know, just to give you a bit of background as to what, you know, coming back to your question as to why it's important and the innovation, but you need to understand the background. And the background is that wildlife on this planet is now occupying only 9% of the available space on the planet, right? So very little. And if you add up all the weight of all the animals on the planet, including us and the things that we eat, which is only chickens, pigs, cows, we're 96% of all the biomass that's on the planet. So only 4% is animals, right? And it's not as if it's always been that way, right? So since 1970 through to now, there's been an exponential reduction in the amount of wild animals. And you know, the pandemic that we're going through now is linked to that, because we're becoming more and more exposed to wild animals because we're taking up their space. So we're running out of the animals, right, and insects. So half of the British birds have gone, and there was a report recently that 80% of the insects in Europe have disappeared. So we're heading for an absolute catastrophe, and unless we do something, there are companies that now have, like, you know, chief biologist in them, or you know, biomechanical engineer, and they're looking to simulate leather, simulate wool, you know, chicken, fish. At the moment, things are on. They're doing things like burgers and nuggets because that's easy, but eventually it will be like, you know, steaks and fillets and so on. The opportunities are there, and the driver is efficiency. So on a level playing field, an animal-based product could never compete. Simply, there's just too many energy conversions. It's just too wasteful, so they could never compete on that basis. So eventually, it's going to be as good as the animal product. It's going to be better for you, and it's going to be cheaper. And Bill Gates and Richard Branson understand that, and they've invested heavily. And I think there's not much going on in the UK, and certainly not in Worcestershire, that's trying to get into that space as well. It's right at its infancy. So all they've done really is looked at pea proteins. There are so many other crops that could be looked at. You know, so there's a whole host of opportunities for companies that want to get into this space. And you know, veganism is on the rise. So more and more people reducing their meat consumption. They're turning away from dairy and eggs because of cruelty, you know, or health, whatever it is. You know, and when you go out for a meal, if ever we get to go out for a meal again in a party, it's the vegan that decides where you go, essentially, because you know they have to eat, and so unless there's a vegan option on the menu, you know, they're not going to go there. So I think there's huge innovation opportunities. Also in vertical farming, you know, I know Pershore College is doing some stuff in vertical farming, and you know that all that could be really wrapped into the whole technology, the agribusiness of moving to a plant-based system. If we stopped eating animals, right, globally stopped, the benefits would be just immense in terms of climate change.
So at WINN, we, taking your advice, actually, we moved our WINN Wednesdays and our fantastic feasts that we have to vegan feasts, which was a first for us, and that's something that will remain. So what can businesses or individuals do to make those changes and to have that impact?
So obviously, I guess you know, a lot of businesses will not be involved in food production directly, as WINN. But if you just start thinking about well, things like running events and then making them all plant-based, if the employees of a business start thinking about their own consumption habits, and if they would go vegan, that would be absolutely amazing. If they would just reduce their animal foods, that would also be good. My view would be go all in, but anything that you can do to reduce would be fantastic. And I mean, what I'm observing as well is the businesses that have gone vegan, they attract vegans. So you find that what we've got now is a growing veganomy, if you like, or a vegan economy where vegans buy from vegans. You know. So
what knowledge, and particularly over the last few months, what new knowledge has been gained, and what can we sort of take forward into our day-to-day lives from this knowledge?
So I think the knowledge from a technical point of view, the knowledge was simply that you can replace a meat product with a non-meat product, and it is very similar to the meat product. That I think is new knowledge, which is only a few years old, right? So just that knowledge that you can make what are basically animal products out of plants, that's tremendously empowering. So there'll be lots of, I would say that there could be lots of companies that really take that and run with it. So pet food, for example, could be entirely made out of plants with, you know, mimicking the meat. And pet food is maybe a third of the meat that's consumed around the world. I mean, it's a huge amount. So a business that wants to set up offering, you know, just vegan pet food, whole new products using that principle. You could look at all different kinds of plants to make things. But I think the knowledge really around the impact of animal agriculture, that's beginning to come through. The knowledge of the environmental impact of eating animals, that will change people. So they will be looking for it. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of knowledge that, you know, really from research into the impact of animals and the benefits of plants, that as soon as that sort of disseminates, you're going to get a whole host of businesses throwing themselves up. Coaching businesses that could coach people into plant-based living, healthy plant-based living. Managing diabetes, managing chronic diseases. There's a whole, I think, industry of opportunity out there for Worcestershire businesses if they want to take it on board. I mean, I would seriously say now, if you flag up that you're a vegan organisation, there are a whole host of other kind of positive subliminals associated with that. So people associate that with environmental awareness, ethical stance, consideration, kindness, the whole host of brand essences that would be good for a business to be associated with. So you need to do it authentically, of course. You can not just stick a label on, but if it's there in your heart, then I think it will open up new opportunities by declaring yourself as vegan and trying to make your supply chain vegan. We need to make this transition, and I think that if businesses lead the way, we will get there.
Fantastic. And then the final question from me is, how can businesses who are looking to innovate within this area, what can they do? What tax support is available from them, and how could quantum tax help a business?
Yeah, so there's a fantastic scheme which has been running for 20 years now, which is the Research and Development Tax Credit Scheme. So if you're developing any new products or processes, then you can get back some of the costs that you've expended on that. It's nominally about 20%, but it can be a very large amount. It can be easily tens of thousands of pounds that businesses can get back just by declaring essentially that we did this R&D. So if they do research and development in those sort of areas, they can get their money back. If you come to an agency like ours, then it's a very simple process. We do everything for them. All we need to do is talk about the work that you've been doing. We'll write the technical report. We'll collect all the costs, write the financial report, and file the claim on your behalf. And so it's not disrupting your business in any way. We only charge a fee if we're successful, so it doesn't disrupt the cash flow in the business either.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mike, so much for joining us. It's been great to talk to you.
You're very welcome, Simon. Yeah, you look gorgeous.
Thanks, Simon. That was truly scrumptious. Food innovation requires an ounce of passion, a pinch of creativity, and a whole dollop of courage. And then you have the recipe for success. For those still hungry for more, here's Amy to serve up a few of our Worcestershire treats.
Did you know?
Thanks, Jess. In the larder today, we have some food for thought from Worcestershire. Did you know? Delicious chocolate flakes, handmade in the heart of the Worcestershire countryside, crafted into dreamy hot chocolate. Get your mugs ready. That was so tasty. Did you know that Droitwich Salt got Droitwich its charter from King John in 1215? Let's find out more. There's more than a pinch of knowledge in there. Now, for something more fruity, let's see how Pershore College are innovating within the county. Just another way Worcestershire is growing. Now we've done our innovative road trip around Worcestershire, let's add them to the map.
Food innovation truly does give food for thought, as we delight and devour new and creative thinking that goes into bringing us choice and the variety required for a sustainable future. Cooking up some insightful thoughts on the innovation within the food sector in Worcestershire, we have someone who really knows their onions.
My name's Professor Roy Kennedy. I'm working here at Pershore College, which is one of the 7 colleges in the Warwickshire College group. Now, within those 7 colleges, we cover lots of different subject areas, but at Pershore College we cover horticulture, and it's horticulture that we're here today to talk about, and it's essentially the new agri-tech agenda which is coming into horticulture, which will improve growing, improve sustainability and improve horticultural production in the UK. The agri-tech agenda is really all about innovation, providing new innovation for the industry. The innovation here is actually producing strawberries in a low input format, but producing 5 times the amount of strawberries per square metre of area, which is good for the grower, it's good for the producer, and it's good for the environment and good for the consumer at the end of the day. It's very appropriate that these horticultural innovations are occurring in Worcestershire area, because Worcestershire contains the Vale of Evesham, which is the heart of horticulture. Evesham contains all the different parts of horticulture. It's unique within the UK because it has got environments that can mean that horticulture, all types of horticultural production can occur in this area. So Worcestershire, if you're going to stimulate agri-tech or develop agri-tech, Worcestershire is the area to come to actually do it. The agri-tech development here at Pershore College comprises of 3 areas. Here you're seeing one of these areas. This is the outdoor area. It's 3D production of strawberries, but it could also be 3D production of herbs or other crops, lettuce. All of these crops grow equally well in this type of format. But we've got 2 other elements that are indoors. One is an LED facility, hydroponic facility indoors, so it's completely cut off from the outside environment. We're growing under artificial lights and also in a hydroponic setting. So that has different challenges compared to what occurs in here. The third element is a laboratory where we do specialised diagnostics. One of the major constraints on horticultural production, and also a major effect on the environment, is pests and diseases. So within the laboratory, we're conducting or developing new diagnostics for pests and diseases of horticultural crops. This is a very important time in the industry because many growers are getting to that age where they are leaving the industry, so we have to have new blood, new entrants into the industry. Also, the new generation are much more savvy with the kind of technologies that we're talking about, much more savvy with the techniques, the technologies, the computerization of the whole system. So these are the types of people that we need in the horticultural industry. They already exist, but they need to be shown that there are these areas that require these kinds of skills that they're interested in. This is part of 21st century and 22nd century growing, and we need to have these entrants come in to really re-energize the system. So that is an important part of this project. It's probably one of the most important parts of this project, not only getting the technology uptake by the industry here in the West Midlands, but also getting new entrants into this area and doing the training, getting them interested, doing the training, and getting them completely familiar with the kinds of things that they have to do.
We are blessed in Worcestershire to have a variety of innovation enablers, topped with being a picturesque county of green fields, trees, hills and meandering rivers. We are home to the perfect environment for our creative food industry to thrive. Having homegrown food and talent on our doorstep is a thing of joy, and the luxury of sourcing locally is something we should all consider when such abundance is all around us. Next time, we'll showcase even more Worcestershire innovators for you to meet as our journey continues through our fabulous county. Don't forget, WINN are here to help support you on your own journey. So check out our website to find out all the support that is available to you. And remember, great things happen when people get together. Next time, we'll be talking